Welcome you all to Samiksha Academy. Today we are going to learn about Special Intensive Revision 2.0. As you know, recently itself, Election Commission of India has conducted Special Intensive Revision exercise in Bihar. The reason it has conducted is with regards to the issues in the electoral rolls in our country. There are certain fake voters and certain deletion of voters that ultimately led to Election Commission of India to conduct Special Intensive Revision. In this topic, what we are going to learn is the reason why SIR 2.0 was launched by Election Commission of India. Now, firstly, if we try to understand the topic, the issues that ultimately led to conducting Special Intensive Revision 2.0 are as follows. Firstly, we lack unique identification cards, right? We have electoral photo identity cards, that is EPIC, right? We have EPICs that has been launched by Election Commission of India in 2000 itself, so that we could get rid of the problem of the duplicacy of voters. Now, EPIC is issued to every individual who has the right to vote, who has registered to vote. Now, the thing is that we do not have the IDs which are unique to every individual in our country. If we go through the IDs itself, we have seen that the same ID number has been allotted to an individual who belongs to the Bihar, and the same ID number allotted to an individual from West Bengal. So this shows that there is no uniqueness of ID in the first place. That is the minimum thing that we have to take care of, so that we could maintain authenticity of the data and maintain that there is no confusion, there is no duplicacy itself. As you know, this is not new. Giving unique IDs to every individual is not new. If we see the driving licenses or vehicle registration numbers, all are unique. If a number is allotted to an individual, it is allotted to that one individual itself. It is not duplicated or it is not replicated in any other vehicle or any other individual. So, Election Commission of India has failed to create a system where there is unique ID that is given to the electoral voters in our country. So that is one issue that it has to take care of. The other thing is that vulnerability via mobile. So recently what we have seen is in the authentication process, if an individual wants to change a mobile number of any other voter, he could do it so by filling up form 8. By filling this form 8, if you want to change a mobile number of any of the voters within our country, we can do on our own. Now, once we have changed the mobile number using authentication process, by attaining OTP, we can delete that voter itself from the list. So this has a possibility of deletion of voters. Now, this is so vulnerable and so basic, right? If an individual wants to change the electoral rolls, he could simply do it by using mobile number. Now, this is a flaw in the system itself. Many of the voters are deleted in this process. Allegations were raised by opposition parties that millions of voters or thousands of voters are deleted from the election processes, from the electoral rolls, thus deciding the outcome of the election itself. The other important issue is the ghost entries. Many of the voters are registered in multiple constituencies, and also we are witnessing the same individual voting in multiple states, and certain houses has many votes. In certain cases, even 100 plus voters were registered in just one house. This clearly shows that there are duplicate voters or nothing but the ghost voters. Now, this has the tendency to change the electoral outcome itself. Now, this is a great flaw in the system. Now, we have to have a database so that we could see whether an individual has multiple entries or whether a particular address has multiple voters, though those number of people might not reside in that particular house itself, right? This has the ability to decide the outcome. Then we have to be careful. Then why we have to be careful? Because it ultimately tarnishes the election processes, and also it compromises with the democratic principles of our country. Now, people's right to vote is being compromised by giving a system where certain parties could misuse the system. We have to try to overcome this flaw. The next step is Election Commission of India's acknowledgement itself. It has acknowledged that the electoral rolls have certain flaws. Now, if Election Commission of India itself acknowledges, then it will definitely tarnish or definitely question the trust of Election Commission of India in the people itself. When the political parties started raising that they have trust issues with regards to trusting the Election Commission of India, which is supposed to be autonomous and independent. But what we are finding is many flaws in the system. Next up is SIR controversy. See, recently SIR was initiated in Bihar with a noble cause, because there are ghost entries and also deletion of voters. Now it is ultimately the responsibility of Election Commission of India to ensure that the electoral rolls are maintained in a fair manner so that there are no duplicate voters or no deletions. But what the allegations are? The allegations are that the process of SIR was done in a swift manner within 6 months. See, Bihar has a population of close to 8 crores. Now it is difficult for Election Commission of India to put the manpower on the ground and ensure that the entire process is taken care of within 6 months. As you know, Bihar has migrant population. Close to 20% of the population migrate to other places in search of livelihood opportunities. Do you think they will have the ability to go back to their homes and ensure that they are registered in the votes? Though Election Commission of India has sent its personnel to each and every individual's household to verify his or her presence and try to enter their name into electoral rolls, the problem is whether we will be able to attain it in 6 months or not. Many argue that many of the migrants are missed out of the electoral rolls. This obviously leads to deletion of voters, thus compromising the right to vote of an individual to participate in the election itself. Right? And one more aspect is whether Aadhaar has been given as a source to identify that an individual has a right to vote or not. See, after Supreme Court has given a go-ahead to the Election Commission of India that Aadhaar should be taken into consideration to authenticate a person's residence, then only Election Commission of India has went ahead and given Aadhaar as a source for authentication. Right? So this clearly shows that it is difficult for the individuals to get registered in the electoral rolls itself to exercise the right to vote in the first place. We have to make the process smooth enough so that the individual could easily exercise his or her right to vote in the elections. So this is one flaw. The other aspect is the political accountability. Now, if we want to have the trust with every aspect of elections, we have to take into consideration the political parties of the state or the country for that matter. We have to engage in discussion with the political parties, all the parties, either it might be the ruling party or the opposition party. They have to sit together, discuss, and the discussions are to be done in a transparent manner. But what we have done is the opposition parties argue that the Election Commission of India is entering into discussion with the political parties in a closed session. It is not even publishing what has happened in this closed session. And they allege that their recommendations or suggestions are not being taken consideration by the Election Commission of India. We have to ensure that these recommendations are taken into consideration, and whatever the sessions that have been recorded is to be published to the public so that the trust will be reposed upon the Election Commission of India. Right? Then only we could ensure transparency. That is, whatever that is happening in terms of how the electoral rolls are being prepared is to be known by everyone. So these are the issues that ultimately were raised, and ultimately it prompted Election Commission of India to carry out special intensive revision in the first place. This exercise is quite important, as we have already seen the number of issues that are raised in the election processes. Now, what are the recommendations that we are supposed to take into consideration so that we could improve the electoral roll management? That we are going to see as follows. Firstly, we have to ensure that unique IDs are given to each and every individual. Right? We have already seen that we are capable of giving unique IDs. We have advanced data techniques so as to ensure that every individual has a unique ID. Next up is stronger authentication. Now, Election Commission of India has given a go-ahead to Aadhaar-based authentication. It is a cheap process and it has wide reach as well. Greater than 90% of the population of India has Aadhaar. So documentation verification, that is document verification, should be made easier so that each and every individual would show their documentation. So Aadhaar is quite beneficial. Even Supreme Court judgment in this matter clearly shows that Aadhaar definitely enables one to authenticate easily. Next up is house-to-house verification. We have to reduce the burden upon the voter to prove that he belongs to a particular residence, right? Especially to migrants. It is difficult for them to go back to their homes. We have to make the process smoother, easy, so that each and every individual is given a chance to verify himself or herself. Now, if we place the burden upon the voter itself to come to the office and get registered, it becomes a difficult process. It is the responsibility ultimately of the government of India to ensure that the right to vote is exercised by the individual voters in our country. Now, recently itself in Telangana, we have conducted census and it has taken close to 3 months to complete it. So, Election Commission of India could also do the same exercise because it has the right to have at its disposal the officials within the state or the country to conduct this process on its behalf. It has all the rights and powers to do it. So it could do it because it has sufficient manpower to do it. Next up is we have to ensure that all parties are considered while deciding the SIR process itself. Right? We have to see that the state head of political parties, all the political parties, the district head, the booth level, etc. In all the processes, all the parties are given equal voice, given equal participation, so that we could conduct the SIR process in a transparent manner, thus raising the trust levels on the election management itself. Next up is publish the machine readable final roll so that if we want to verify that whether there are any duplicacies, whether there are any deletions, we could clearly understand by this machine readable format through data techniques. That is what was lacking in the previous cases. You could see how Election Commission of India was not giving machine readable data. Instead, it becomes difficult for us to analyze the data that has been given by Election Commission of India. Thus, it is a responsibility of the Election Commission of India to give machine readable data. The last step is we have to ensure that independent technical audit is carried out by the third party. So the third party which has expertise to read and analyze the data could check whether the electoral rolls are transparent or not. That is, if you want to verify the additions or deletions, anyone could do it. That access should be given. Of course, the privacy, etc. issues raise up, but we have mechanisms to ensure that the individual's identity is protected, while we could also ensure that there are no duplicacies in the system itself. All these processes has to be done to ensure our election processes are trustworthy to all the parties and the people of this country. So these changes are definitely important rather than carrying out the SIR exercise in a swift and hurried manner as it was done in the case of Bihar. We have sufficient time. We have to do it in a slow process, slow and step-by-step manner. Then only we could ensure the integrity of the election processes in our country and bestow the trust that has been posed to the Election Commission of India in the past and restore its glory. This completes our session. Thank you.